What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? I hope everything's going well. Today we got ourselves here Siddharth from COMDEX, so we want to welcome him on the Cosmoverse channel. So please just give us a interview. We're going to do a little interview about how things are going at COMDEX. Just high level stuff. They're coming to Cosmoverse, so obviously they're big supporters, early supporters, and yeah. Siddharth, please tell us how you doing. How's everything going? Where you at right now?
Hey, Basil, thank you for having me here. Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm in Bangalore, India right now. Super excited for Cosmos this year. I really wanted to be part of the last one, which was in Lisbon, but I missed it. So definitely not gonna miss this one.
Sweet, sweet. I mean, I know last year was a big deal, and now this year we're doing it in Latam in Medellin. We're going to be bringing obviously a lot of people to introduce them in the LATAM region into Cosmos, and that's like the whole goal. So hopefully also we were going to have you guys on board, going to have you guys going to get a booth, you guys going to have you speak. So, have them get to know what you guys are doing with bridging CFI and DeFi together and bringing, commodities onto Cosmos. So yeah, let's just start off like at the beginning. Obviously 2022 has been a crazy year so far. A whole lot of drama everywhere, but that's just like the way things are in the bear market and things like that. You know what I mean? With the exploits on for example, even last night, there's never anything, like just normal. We can't just have a normal day in crypto. Like last night with Nomad, that was wild. And then obviously, who can forget about the Terra Luna stuff? I mean, did that have anything affect you guys at all?
So, I mean, yeah, in terms of being builders ourselves, and you kind of are involved in the process of building an application that's going to have people's capital deployed into it. It kind of highlights what you have to kind of take account for as a builder. And no matter how many times you kind of review the process, you kind of review the mechanism, review the documentation and technology behind it. There's always kind of scope to improve and scope to kind of get that little bit perfect before it goes out. So I think each event that occurs, whether it's the Terra collapse or the Nomad exploit that we saw last night, I think each event kind of just highlights the importance of being thorough with your work before it goes live, so that you kind of prevent such situations from happening. And it kind of also highlights the true task of building, which is not just getting the application together, not just getting the mechanism together, but actually foolproofing the whole system to make sure that nobody who has kind of, I mean, there should be no kind of stones left unturned when it comes to due diligence and making sure the product works.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, even then, it's just like because the whole industry is always growing so fast. I mean, like there's always new technologies. There's always new codes. There's always new something. So it's like the team needs to always like be there 24/7. It's like it is a daunting task. It is also very difficult. But I mean, like the rewards at the end are we're trying to break off from the traditional markets. I mean, like, and if it takes this type of work, then I mean, this is the normal. It's only the beginning. That's basically it. It's only the beginning. We'll see. I'm excited also to see what you guys are up to in terms of coming at Cosmoverse and what you have. You have something special that you guys are going to be bringing or like speaking about at Cosmoverse?
Yeah, for sure. So I think everyone who's kind of known about COMDEX has known about the products that we've been building for the past few months. There's the Synthetics app, there's the stablecoin, the lending borrowing app, and the DEX. So I think by the time we're at Cosmoverse, our stablecoin, lending borrowing, and DEX would be live. So it would be great to kind of have people finally have a look at how these applications work, kind of get a touch and feel of what it's going to be like using the application and how it works. It'll be also great to then kind of share the next phase of our kind of development plans that we have in place. There's updates on the Synthetics app development front as well. So I'm optimistic that by the time we're at Cosmoverse, that we'll have something more concrete to also kind of talk about when it comes to the Synthetics app. But with the stablecoin, the DEX, the lending borrowing kind of going live and setting up like a base layer of DeFi applications that the COMDEX chain runs, we'll kind of enter a next phase of development where the first kind of target would be improve all of the existing protocols and applications out there. So we already have some thoughts in mind about what we would be doing to improve on the base layer of every application we have built out. But since it's a process of research and reiteration and kind of trial and error till you arrive at the right kind of method for each of these, our focus is now to get the first releases for each of these products out. But getting into phase 2 would be a very important part of our kind of journey, because it's not just building each application individually that matters to us. It's more how these applications will interoperably work with each other. So for someone to be able to mint a stable coin, then lend it out in a lending borrowing app, or provide liquidity on a DEX and then use the LP token, as a collateral somewhere else, to kind of create this composable DeFi ecosystem is what we're really going after. So, I think by the time we're at Medellin Cosmoverse, we'll definitely have a lot more to talk about in terms of that next phase of development as well. Sharing some ideas, some kind of proposals that we have as well in terms of how we think certain existing aspects of the chain can be improved. But primarily, focus is going to shift towards rather enhancing each of these applications as we get closer to that.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, it sounds like you guys got now, obviously it's developed since, you guys started in 2018, 2019 from just being commodities and bringing, commodities onto Cosmos and having that product available for people. And then now, obviously with synthetic assets and the stable coin and obviously with you guys evolve as the markets evolve themselves. And it's just nice to see that there's a lot of adaptations that are going on with the markets as they go. And obviously, the consumers change, they also adapt, they also grow. So it's also knowing what the right product fit is in the market. It's also interesting to see that you guys are also going with that, and seeing where the market is going and trying to provide those types of products for those different consumers. So you're not always just looking for one type of consumer market. It's we're trying to give one consumer market, but then a suite of different products to be able to use. That's always a nice thing. Maybe if you can just give for those that don't know, just a big picture about COMDEX as a whole, where you guys started with the idea of COMDEX and then where you guys are at now. So just an idea.
Yep. No, I think what you pointed out, as I was kind of thinking about it while you were saying it as well, is for us, if you think about every kind of decision that we've taken in terms of enhancing something or whether it's adding something as a technology or as a feature to the chain or adding it as an app to the chain, each decision, now that I kind of think about it back, I would see it less as a need to pivot, but more as a need to kind of strengthen the existing product offering. So
Right.
to that sense, I kind of feel like as a team, the product offering or the kind of problem statement we started solving in 2018, we're still solving the exact same problem statement. It's just that every time we get deeper into solving the problem, we realize that there are 4 or 5 more key kind of critical components that need to be in place for this problem to be solved. And then we kind of go on the journey of building each of those. So to kind of walk you through it, obviously, we started building in 2018. At the time, our vision was to create a solution that digitizes the commodities trade industry and brings it to the blockchain so that there's a layer of trustlessness and efficiency that can be brought there. And commodities is one of the largest industries in the world, forming basically the backbone of the entire supply chain of the world.
Yeah.
So for an industry of that size, when we kind of started interacting with a lot of the key stakeholders that are involved in the industry, we realized that there's a lot of room for improvement and efficiency there, especially when it comes to matters of trust. At present, the way the commodities industry kind of deals with this issue of lack of trust is by hiring intermediaries or appointing intermediaries who do the job of risk mitigation when it comes to counterparty risk. But we identified that blockchain tech kind of solves this entirely, and that's where we started on our mission by saying, hey, look, we're going to look at this commodities trade industry, and we need to focus on digitizing this industry, bringing it on a blockchain, making it transparent and efficient. So, obviously, back when we started in 2018 and 2019, the clientele that we started dealing with were institutional clients based out of Southeast Asia involved in commodities trading. So typically for these guys, it wasn't such a comfortable kind of mode of operations for business to have crypto assets on their balance sheets, especially in 2018 and
It's too
2019.
early. Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, then we had to kind of make the conscious decision of creating this application, but not having any kind of crypto layer integrated into the application, which means it's more like a SaaS platform that runs on a blockchain, but not having any crypto on the interface layer. So at the time we started building the app in exactly that way. We partnered up with the Persistence team to have the application built on the Persistence SDK. Uh, and that application, we went live with it, I think, in the end of 2019. And between the end of 2019 and I think till now, we've seen 18 different organizations onboarded on the platform. And, all of these organizations based out of Southeast Asia, done over $160 million of trade volumes on that platform. So on that platform, which is kind of like the real world interface of the blockchain, providing, digitizing real world commodity assets on chain and allowing these institutional players to digitize their process and make it more efficient and trustless. One of the key pieces that we wanted to work on as well was a payments layer and a financing layer on this platform. So for the payments, we started off, by integrating with Western Union, which was in 2020. Western Union, for those of you who don't know, is one of the largest, payment services provider around the world. So we had an integration complete with Western Union, which went live by mid 2020. But by mid 2020, as most of us know, COVID had already kind of hit the world. We saw business go down across the
Oh yeah.
board. We saw commodities volumes had dried up. Financing markets and commodities had dried up. So that kind of slowed down our process of making that application, making the payments layer live, which also brought with it new regulations. And we're kind of still working on figuring out our licensing capabilities to integrate like the Western Union solution. But we didn't want that to slow us down, and we didn't want to kind of get slowed down by these kind of events that happened outside. And interestingly enough, 2020 was also a very good time to keep your eyes open about to see what's happening in the crypto sphere of things, especially with the kind of DeFi summer of 2020, where we saw various DeFi protocols kind of pick up and then truly deliver the value that blockchain has always promised to deliver for as long as it's existed. So we saw that, hey, look, there's this whole kind of sphere of solutions that has just evolved called DeFi now. People are able to kind of create assets of value on the blockchain, collateralize them, borrow against them, provide liquidity with them. So generating yield on on-chain assets became a reality because of DeFi. And before DeFi, what we were doing were taking real-world assets and making them on-chain assets. And these real-world assets, like commodities, can still be yield-bearing assets in the real world as well. So we identified this as kind of a vision that we wanted to, stretch forward when it comes to the payments and financing as well. For the payments, we always had it in mind to have an instant payment settlement layer in place. So the way the Western Union solution works at the back end is kind of like how a stable coin like USDC works, where for every dollar deposited, there'd be a digital dollar created that kind of circulates in the economy. So we realized that, with the regulations coming into play and Western Union slowing down, we had to kind of take measures to build our own alternative, which would be a stable coin that would serve the same purpose inside this closed ecosystem of solutions. So that's when in 2021, we announced that, hey, look, we're going to work on our own stablecoin. And it's got to be a model that's robust and safe that we can rely on for such applications that deal with the real world and real world institutions to work on as well. So at the time, we kind of consciously took the decision of going, the over-collateralized model for stablecoin, which at the time was not a popular decision because, Luna UST was one of the more popular stablecoins at the time. And a lot of the feedback we got was over-collateralized stablecoins aren't scalable. They have capital efficiency problems. No one really wants to over-collateralize. But we kind of still stuck firm with our vision of having the over-collateralized stablecoin ever since 2021, because both, the whole team that was researching the subject had unanimously reached this decision that an algorithmic stablecoin doesn't really suit the kind of security standards that we have in mind for the protocols we wanted to build. But yeah, kind of continuing on that vision now for the past year, focusing on building a set of DeFi applications that onboards the DeFi capital, into the Cosmos, into the COMDEX ecosystem inside of Cosmos. And then COMDEX kind of continues its real world outreach and growth as well in terms of onboarding more and more real world solutions, financiers, and payments solutions, so that we can actually, live the dream of bridging DeFi and CeFi, which we kind of started off with back all the way back in 2018. So yeah, I think at a high level that kind of covers where we came from and where we're going.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I can tell, like you said earlier, when you were saying as the idea generated in your mind, like, oh, we need to do TradeFi and CeFi and including commodities and bringing that into, crypto and involving crypto in it. And then also like how when you were working with institutional investors, for example, crypto, for example, was very hard for them to try to like come and onboard them. And then you had to basically come up with an idea of how we could onboard users and onboard these investors on a platform where they don't even know that they're actually using blockchain technology, and I am a strong believer of basically, if you really want to get the masses to come into crypto, they need to start using a product and not even realize that they're actually using it on the blockchain. And then
100%.
like how from that developed into the idea that, okay, we have a payment solution, which was Western Union, but then you realize that that was also an issue that we need to solve. And then from that becoming into, okay, maybe we should just do our own stable coin. And then, yeah. And like you said, how every idea you had at COMDEX basically was, oh, there's this problem. We need to solve this problem to make it more seamless. Oh, there's this problem in front of us. And again, like any successful business at the end of the day, it's like how you face these problems. You see these as walls in front of them. It's like, how do I get over this wall? And then that's what makes a successful business. That's what makes a successful product at the end of the day. So interested to see how when the stable coin goes live, obviously. So basically with the commodities on COMDEX, can you give me an example of basically gold, right? And crude oil or silver? Like when am I going to be able to trade Atom for gold? And is that going to be possible?
Yeah. So with the Synthetics app, the aim is that it's to allow anyone who holds crypto capital to take exposure in alternative assets like gold, silver, or crude oil and do it on chain, much like how DeFi kind of allows you to do everything on chain. So to that regard, we started off building that application. We even ran it on public DevNet where, the community kind of got to use the application and interact with it and understand how it would work. And I think overall, the feedback we got was very positive about at least the user experience of using the application. Internally as a team, we kind of, ran several simulations through the application to understand what are different kind of, circumstances that we can put the application through to simulate various scenarios. And one of the things that we kind of identified, which could become a problem, not at an early stage, but at a later stage as well, potentially, was that when you have these synthetic assets trade on liquidity pools like they do on AMMs, liquidity itself becomes a huge factor in maintaining in these assets being able to maintain their value or price well. So, kind of quickly giving you an example, if an ounce of gold or if a unit of gold in the real world is somewhere around $2,000, when we create an application that allows you to mint gold and then put that gold into liquidity pools for trading, if the gold that's in the liquidity pools is not liquid enough, certain trading activity on the liquidity pools can cause the price of the gold to shoot drastically above or below the $2,000 mark. Whereas in the real world, the gold still remains, at $2,000. So as soon as we kind of identified this, we had to reassess our own approach to the model, where we realized that maybe the AMM approach works better for certain kind of assets, but synthetic assets is probably not the kind of asset that you want hosted on AMMs because, synthetic assets, if I would say they don't necessarily need to maintain a peg with their underlying asset, but they definitely need to have some kind of good correlation with the underlying asset. So in order to maintain that correlation, the liquidity becomes a problem. So for us now, since then we've kind of gone through the whole process of thinking about different ways of approaching this, to solve the problem. And interestingly enough, the kind of problem, the kind of solution that keeps coming back is to adopt an order book exchange for the synthetic assets rather than an AMM exchange. So we've kind of immediately kind of clinged on to that thought, where we started thinking, okay, if this is the way to do it, how do we start implementing this on the chain? So that's what we're kind of in the process of doing right now as a team. But interestingly enough, since the time that we thought about this and the time that I'm talking now, I've found out that Osmosis is going to be releasing their own order book very soon. Injective has their own order book running, which has been around in the ecosystem for a while. I know Crescent is also working on integrating order books into the exchange, and I think Say Protocol has Vortex coming out as well, which is also an application for our order books for Cosmos.
Yeah.
So with all of these projects that are kind of building exactly this solution, all around us, we're kind of thinking of going more of a collaborative route rather than starting the whole process of building the order book ourselves again. So for us now, it is a matter of evaluating each of these implementations of order books to see which one kind of fits us best and how we can leverage that. But I still think, realistically speaking, there should be something to show, at least apps wise, the synthetics application wise, there should be something to show by the time we're in Colombia.
Yeah.
And I think soon after that, less than a month after that, we should have something more concrete that people can start using as well. So, trading gold with Atom or trading gold with Osmo and crude oil or things like that should be realistic by then.
Okay. So basically, I mean, I like what you're saying. Obviously, it doesn't make sense for you guys to go and create a whole order book, right? And then when especially there's like you just said, 5 different projects at the moment that are just going to come up with it. Now, it is obviously reliant on when they launch for you guys also to like evaluate which one is the best one, which one has the most accurate numbers, and so that it's going to like complement you guys in collaborating with them, obviously. So yeah, on that note, it makes sense for you guys to collaborate than for you guys to sit there and start working. But obviously, it depends also on the time that it's going to take them to publish that stuff out, for you guys to then go ahead and then do your analysis of which one's the best one and all those things. So time-wise is also kind of dependent on other projects and when they go live with their product. I mean, I think this is one reason why, in Cosmos, it's like another form of like, this is way we can collaborate with other projects. And this is like what Cosmos is all about, so yeah, I like that. I like that. What about when you guys get to Colombia? Are you guys going to be making any deals with any like coffee farms, trying to get those on coffee commodities on on COMDEX or what? We're going to expect coffee?
That's actually one of the most interesting kind of thoughts I've seen, and it's been something that I've seen on Twitter a few times.
Yeah.
It's definitely been discussed in the COMDEX community chat on Telegram many times as well. So coffee is one very interesting product that a lot of people have asked us to look at. I remember reading about whiskey financing as well, which is a very interesting kind of business model where you can finance the production of whiskey, and then you kind of get paid out a yield on your investments. So yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting kind of avenues along the way. Coffee is, I think, quite doable also, provided we find the right kind of price oracles, and we'll obviously have governance votes to choose which assets get whitelisted.
But I mean,
yeah, coffee is interesting.
You have price oracles for coffee centuries, you know what I mean? So I mean, like, honestly, you could look at data from 100+ years.
Yeah,
it's stable. Yeah. What do you mean? It's actually a stable coin. Yeah, I'm excited. So, I mean, in terms of Colombia and you guys coming down, do you have any idea about, have you ever been to Colombia by any chance? Or do you have any idea about what the LATAM market is like with the, you know what I mean, crypto? Because also, I mean, India and Colombia is in terms of like, if you want to talk about like in countries and how they have, I would like to say, for example, because I also come from the Middle East, you know what I mean? It's just like, we are in situations where it's not like first world, like we're in the US, for example, where it's like everything's given to us. And we feel like sometimes it's left up to the people to basically make their own decisions in like what assets they invest in, or like sometimes solutions from the government, let's say, they're not always there to like always support the community and the people. So we always like, seems like it's always left to us. And Colombia is also like one where it's like, with hyperinflation going around in Venezuela, for example, and Argentina, it's always like left to people to basically decide their own fate. And it's like whether it's almost safer for me to like buy Bitcoin than to hold like the Venezuelan peso, for example. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that we're excited about, like trying to bring people into Cosmos and crypto in general, like to give them the opportunity to come learn, obviously. And yeah, but in terms of like, is there a developer market that you guys are looking for? Are you looking for maybe developers that are coming to Colombia, that are going to come and like come to Cosmoverse that you're looking forward to meeting or anything like that?
So, what's interesting actually is a lot of times when I speak to non-crypto folks about, crypto, a lot of times the debate kind of gets centered around the fact that, well, what's wrong with banking? Banking works. Why would I shift over to crypto because banking works?
Yeah.
So I always kind of bring this argument into picture where I'm like, neither you nor, when I say you, I mean the person I'm talking to, neither you nor me are today capable of kind of fully appreciating the value of what crypto brings to us, because we probably live in countries where these systems work, and we live in countries where we can trust institutions to do things for us. But for folks who kind of live in, and I think you gave some great examples. Venezuela is one of those examples. A large part of the LATAM countries that are underserved when it comes to banking as a whole, for them, what the kind of product offering that crypto brings is truly valuable, and it is something that they can truly help improve the lives of the people that live there. So for me, I think personally, fortunately enough, I've kind of grown up in a situation where I've been able to trust the institutions around me, and at least not been exploited by them so far. But it's kind of it'll be an interesting exposure to actually meet people who are kind of firsthand dealing with some of these kind of problems of inflation, problems of lack of trust with your institutions, who are actually kind of also benefiting directly from what crypto does. And then that'll be kind of good firsthand kind of user interaction for me for the first time, because I've always kind of thought of it as a builder, very little as a user myself.
Yeah.
So gives more opportunity to read different kind of thoughts about it. And then also personally, I'm a big fan of Latin American culture. I've watched a lot of the shows and the movies, and I also speak Spanish. So I'm just excited to practice my Spanish a bit when I reach Colombia, and then interact with the local communities there as well.
Wow, this is surprising. So now you're gonna be speaking Spanish out in Colombia. I like this. You know what I mean? You're gonna be in there like a local, listen to reggaeton and come down into the conference and basically just share your wisdom with everybody. I
Hopefully.
like it. I like it. Yeah, I mean, so we're excited for you guys to come, definitely. And I wanna just, maybe you can tell the people why they should be excited about Cosmoverse and why they should be excited about COMDEX join Cosmoverse.
I mean, Cosmoverse is super exciting for many reasons, but I think the number one reason for me is having been, building in the Cosmos ecosystem since 2018. I think I've just made friends everywhere I've gone, and I think it's one of the warmest, most receptive kind of communities or crypto ecosystems out there. So, in that regard, anytime there's any kind of event where cosmonauts gather together and meet, I'm always excited to be part of such events, because I kind of always feel welcomed in the Cosmos community. And always super happy to interact with everyone who's building, because I truly believe Cosmos is one of the most serious communities of builders out there among all the ecosystems. So rarely do you meet someone inside of Cosmos and not be amused by what they're doing and kind of the ambition that they work with. So this is, for me, it's a great source of kind of motivation to meet people inside of Cosmos, which helps me kind of stay sharp with the work I do as well. So that's personally for me the most exciting thing about Cosmos, and I think people should definitely uh, be aware of everything that's going on in Cosmos, because I think for a long time Cosmos has been in the shadows, and a lot of things happening under the hood where people don't really pay much attention. But I truly believe the tide is turning now, and I mean, in that sense, Cosmos is probably going to end up being inevitable. So that's why I'm very excited and bullish on being associated with the Cosmos and Cosmoverse.
Sweet, sweet. I mean, we all are. That's what we're doing, Cosmoverse. That's why we're gonna bring everybody, put them all in the nice venue. We're gonna do it in Intercontinental. We're gonna put you guys for 3 days in there, lock the doors, take the keys and throw it away, and then just see like what gives birth out of it. So we're excited to have Comdex come down, and yeah, it's gonna be tons of reggaeton, tons of building as well, and we're excited. So Intercontinental, September 26th to 28th, Cosmoverse. Comdex will be here. Siddharth will be here. Come down. Come see what Siddharth wants to bring with Comdex. So we're excited and appreciate it, guys. And we're gonna tune in to the next time. And yeah, see you guys in Medellin. Bye.